Hello and welcome to our show, Midwest Weekly, starring myself, Hairwiz, and my co-host, CLT. We are here to give you a recap of Week Three's action across the Midwest Sweat League Spring Split. Now, first, I just want to say, everybody, please give prayers to CLT and his doggo. Hopefully, his doggy will be all right. So, I just want to say that.
Hmm,
But CLT, how
Thank
are
you.
you feeling? Everything okay?
We're hanging in there. So we're everything's good for the most part now. Just chilling, letting the dog get some rest, and here to talk about some good League of Legends.
Yeah. So please feel free to reach out to my boy and give him some love. All right. He does a lot around here. We obviously all appreciate him. Myself more than probably almost anybody could. So make sure he gets the love. That's all I'm saying. But
Oh, we're
with
good.
that said, I think we're good to go, and we're gonna get this show started today. And we're gonna start with the first Group A matchup, which was Coin Flip versus Royal Rogues. So CLT, what you got for us here in this first series?
Yeah. You had Royal Rogues here, who's been kind of struggling a little bit this season, and Coin Flip, who has been picking up steam uh coming into the last couple weeks here. So Um, Coin Flip just kind of continued what they were doing. They picked a really solid team fight comp. They went with a Swain bot, which I don't believe we've seen this season at all. I know there are some bot lanes that ain't afraid to pull it out, but Coin Flip's the first one to pull the trigger. And I thought it was really nice to have like Swain, Pantheon, Vi combated with a Shen, because they do love the coin flip fights, pun intended, and Shin kind of just turns it into their favor. So you could kind of see that quite a bit here in this game one, where this game started off with a bang and then just kind of started to slowly go coin flips way.
Yeah, it does look like a bit of a hard game here for our Rogues, and they've had some tough competition to start the split, and it just doesn't get any easier. It seems like for them, um, this might be their worst outing, honestly, as far as the game I've seen. But at the same point, they did have two subs, Strawberry Milk and Garzak came in and filled in for them. So, got to give them some grace in that aspect. Uh, but but yeah, I mean, was there something or anything in particular about this game that kind of stood out to you besides any besides like picks and stuff? Was there like a performance or something that really stuck out, a gameplay moment, like that?
Um, I thought the mid jungle duo from Coin Flip, they had a really big like standout game here. Um, Brandino making the role swap from top to jungle. I had a feeling that there would be a little bit of a growing pains there, and if you asked them, they'd probably agree that like week one, they definitely showed a lot. But Kruger's always been a staple there. It's just I think a matter of just getting everybody collectively on the same page. And Brandino and Kruger had um, really like a standout series as a mid jungle duo here. Granted, like you said, it was into a sub mid laner in Garzok, but overall it was pretty impressive. Just watching them just kind of roam around the map and control this. And then, GeoProw also chipped in with this support Pantheon. Pantheon can go anywhere he wants to when he gets ahead.
Yeah, that guy can fly around the map, find your head. I know CLT is
Hmm.
very familiar with that. Um,
Yeah, yeah.
but yeah, I mean, it looks like it was a pretty dominating performance out of Coin Flip here. I mean, this is kind of the Coin Flip we remember from last split. So I'm really not surprised to see uh, like this gameplay from them. And happy to see them like they're back in form. But they obviously still got some more tests on the way. So I mean, this it's not like this is it, and this is what they're
Mhm.
gonna look like going into playoffs. But
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, it's I'm kind of looking. Yeah, it's a pretty hard stomp here in this first game. Not really much to cover as far as really what happened. I mean, from pretty much from the first foot out the door, they kind of had a handle on the game.
Hmm.
So,
Yeah. But
but
that's game one. Game two was a much closer battle.
yes, I see that. It does look a lot better here. So let's talk more about game two. What exactly happened here in game two?
Game two, I felt like Royal Rogues drafted a comp that's much easier to execute and overall like much simpler when it comes to team play. I mean, you have a big go button in Malphite, and if Malphite goes in and say Varus is firing something, or Garzak is doing what Malzahar does and doing a lot of like single target damage that can spread around, then it creates situations where Viego can pop off. And if I remember correctly, yeah, Viego got an early triple kill here in the bot lane, which helped put like it helped stabilize Royal Rogue through the laning phase where they kind of fell last game. This game, when you have a 3-0 Viego roaming around the map, you're a lot more careful on your rotations and the fights that you pick.
Yeah, I'm kind of watching over now, and I mean, this is really nice to see from Cosmic here. I know it's been a transition for him into the jungle as well, something new for him. He was playing mid at the beginning of the split, so I'm happy to see he's having some success here. Um, Obviously, pretty close on the triple kill there, but still was able to edge it out and get it there. The comp they drafted though overall kind of looks pretty standard. I like the picks. You know, they have Varus and Nautilus in the bot lane that can really lock down any target. So the Twitch, it's hard for Twitch to play the game safely. Um, Malzahar, I mean that's just more CC lockdown, a pretty good scaling right there. Shouldn't be, I feel like, too horrible into to the mid pick here. Uh, let's see, almost Garzak getting a solo kill around the 6 minute mark. And then Viego, like, I'm not a big Viego enjoyer, but I will say, like, if you can lock down people, blow people up, which the comp they kind of have does that. This is like not including the Malphite. I think Viego can have a lot of success here, and he doesn't have to go in like and try to set it up for himself. It's a comp for success. So I think they drafted really well here in this game.
Yeah, and since we're speaking on champions, we see GeoProw got his patented Trusty Attack Leona, but I mean, we can't go without mentioning this Iceborne Gauntlet in the Eclipse build. Like, bro just wants to fight.
Yeah, I mean, he trusts himself to make the plays, so I guess I kind of understand it. And
Mhm.
it's not that he's trying to say his team can't do things right and do damage, but he just wants to be a part of that doing damage part.
He wants to be in the middle of all the shit shows, like when it comes to coin flipping these fights. But builds is going to be probably a hot topic of this episode as we talk about a few different series.
Yeah. I mean, people like to varietize and do some interesting cringy type shift.
Oh, there
Uh,
was a lot of cooking.
a lot of cooking. What what
Yeah.
what broke open this game, CLT? As I do see, I mean, here even at the 14-minute mark, it's only about a 2K lead for coin flip.
I think the biggest thing was uh coin flip forced Royal Rogues to pull the trigger on like mainly their frontline champions. Pat's I don't know how to pronounce the top laner's name. Pat's the Patstick.
Pat
He
stick.
went like yeah, he went full blown AP Malphite, and I felt like there was some instances where they just couldn't safely walk into Fog of War here. And when you got something like Geoprow, being tanky, you got Hui launching a bunch of abilities. Kled just is naturally pretty tanky because of the dismount mechanic, but then, Brandino on this Elise got super fed, and got the Storm Surge plus feats of strength sword boots. Like it just ended up becoming too much damage and not enough front line to like really start to move around the map and match coin flip. I don't remember like a specific moment, but that's just casting this with Mark Cutie, which big shout out to him for joining me on that one. Um, it just felt like once coin flip started sieging, Malphite could press the go button, but then he would die instantly if say like Elise repelled it or he couldn't get a clean shot on the Twitch.
Yeah, I definitely think like the idea of going a little AP is cool with me, but I do agree that like you need to do some front lining there because we just kind of talked about what makes Viego have success, and part of that is something in front of him. In theory, if targets are getting one shot by Malphite and Viego's getting those resets, it's fine. But if Viego doesn't like contact them in some way, he's not gonna get the reset. So if Malphite just insta pops somebody, is it good or bad? I don't know, man. That's I don't know. It might not even be good. But yeah, very interesting though.
Yeah,
Plus, he's very
yeah,
squishy, so he gets one shot himself.
yeah. Malphite got behind there for a bit, and when he can't threaten one shot with full AP Malphite, you're just kind of useless.
Yeah, he's like a 10K lead here. I was just kind of clicking through trying to find what might have been the game changer. Got all the way up to 5K at almost 20 minutes. So it kind of looks like it's more of just not even the kills, it's just the gold they started acquiring from turrets and stuff. While, you know, Royal Rogues wasn't able to get any turrets. That's probably the big thing, which kind of comes down to macro once again. It's a macro thing. Like, you got to trade stuff. If you're not getting turrets on the map, if you're not acquiring gold for your team, besides just killing creeps and occasionally killing champions, then you're going to fall behind naturally. If we played a 5v5 game and all we did was destroy turrets and your team didn't destroy turrets, but we didn't do anything else, like, we're gonna win the game, regardless of us eventually getting the Nexus, right? Like, that's not what I mean. I just mean the gold income. Like, you guys won't be able to win fights because we'll have 3, 4, 5,000 more gold than you as a team. So, right, that's
Yeah,
that's just what it is. But yeah, I mean, with that said, really, really nice performance out of Coin Flip, and congratulations to them.
yeah.
Freaking ridiculous build, GeoPro.
He actually lived, I think, in like a mid lane fight under a turret because he had Triumph and the Eclipse Shield proc at the same time. So he just got an influx of health to take a turret shot and then walk out.
Of course he did.
Yeah, yeah, of course.
Well, let's jump into the next one here, which is Femboys versus Ninja Turks. I should preface this as we do not actually have a lot of info on this game, so me and COT were able to either cast a series ourselves, review something that was casted by somebody else, and this was the one we haven't gotten to yet because another mod was taking care of it for us. He was going to record it and put it on the YouTube, but it hasn't gotten up there yet. So it will be there, guys. You will be able to review it. Femboys, if you want to watch your game back, Ninja Turtles, if you want to watch your game back, it's going to be up there. Anybody in Group A that wants to, break down these two teams, it's going to be there. Hopefully by the end of today. But as of right now, we don't have anything to really give you guys too much. So we will at least talk a little bit about the performances here, as we don't have what is clearly a banger game too. By the way, we don't have any info of what the breakdown was on the actual game itself. But yeah, I mean, looking at this, like, just right off the bat here, it looks like an absolutely insane game. I mean, the top players both going almost the exact same, like, stat lines across the board, bro. It's insane. Besides
Yeah,
damage, I mean, the Yorick did way more damage, but the stat lines themselves, 5-7-4 to 5-7-5, 253 CS to 245 CS. It's kind of hilarious. I'm assuming, if my idea is correct, is probably the Yorick was splitting a lot and just beating on the beating on the Scion for free and taking turrets. That's probably what was happening. I could be completely wrong, but it just feels like that's how the game went. Looking at these two comps, what's your thoughts though? Looking at it, at least in terms of
Um,
the stats you got here.
I mean, team comp for team comp is quite interesting. I mean, you have Ari Vi, which is, a really solid combo. Everybody knows just how prominent that combo is. Into Akali Kane, like I actually think Akali Kane has enough mobility and threat that if one gets bursted down, the other one just starts to run free onto the team comp. Um, I wish I could see this game more because I think on paper I like the Ninja Turtles comp a little bit more, but then Femboy still has like a boatload of scaling with Scion and Sivir. And looking at the stats, it looks like Femboy's like just had it all around like a really solid team game. I mean, everybody across the board is north of 20% of their team's damage outside of the Yuumi support. So, um, I definitely would like to go back and look at this overall, but I'm just happy to see Ninja Turts like just pulling up in this series where, they're against a top team in their group and they put up a hell of a fight here.
Yeah, I mean Ninja Turtles all split are just literally a pinnacle away from just winning a series, man. They have shown great resolve. I can't say enough nice things about this team because I think this team is actually good, and they just like drew the short stick on a pretty stacked group. To be honest, like Group A is very strong competitively. So you put them in another group, man. I think they have a high chance of being a playoff team. As of
I would
right
agree.
now, they're not in the playoffs. Of course, I'd have to check the standings. We could do that at the end of the show and kind of see if it's still possible. And I'm sure it is, but it's probably not likely at this point, right? You kind of start to get to a point where at 0-3, your chances are slim. You got to win week 4. You definitely got to win week 5 to even have a chance. But I hope they do. I hope they pull something out of their hat because I think this team is really fun to watch when I've casted them and seen their games. So I'm sure this series is no different, and hopefully get to watch it. With that said, the only thing that really sucks here, and I could see why the Vi struggled based on 11% of the team's damage, is literally like you have no good Vi targets. Your target is Sivir with a shield, Akali with a shroud, Kane with a you can target me, but if I hit you once after you knock me up, I'll just go into your side of your body, and a tank Scion. You obviously will probably never be able to ult the Yumi. So like the Vi just does not have target selection here, which means the Vi Ari combo is just kind of like negated. So that kind of sucks. And then they don't really have kill threat bot lane from Ezreal Bard, like heavy kill threat. Like they could still kill them, but what I mean by that is like they don't have heavy engage to really freely get on top of the Sivir with a Yumi on her, and I would have actually loved to seen that. Like I actually would have loved to seen something like an Alistar here. I think maybe it was banned. I mean, I could check a peek. Uh, it was not. I think that's what I would want to see. So, but nonetheless, you went up against Powerhouse. You gave a good effort here, and just it wasn't enough there in game one. But game two looks like another absolutely crazy good game. I'm like so disappointed that I missed out, guys. Uh, Looking at it again, I think the comps here are pretty solid on both sides. I think Ninja Turtles comp's even better than the previous comp, if you ask me. The only real issue is the Nocturne into the Echo could be a little hard, but he does have threats to go on. He has follow up engage. They have a strong bot lane with the Callista and Renata, and I'm not surprised they did as well as they did. But they're going to get outscaled eventually, right? So looking at that Lulu and um, Philios right there. So it, it's a weird situation where I think they probably just lost because the game went over 30 minutes. That's what it kind of looks like to me. But what's your
Yeah.
kind of take on this if you have one?
I do for the most part like agree. I think Nocturne plus like another engager, Gragas or even like Kalista throwing Renata in is a decent combo, but there's really no way to get it onto a meaningful target just because of Fizz E, Echo R, like Garen presses W and negates a lot of the damage at the very beginning, which most of the damage is front loaded anyway. So, um, it definitely looks like if Ninja Turts were on an even playing field, which actually, I mean, they were down by almost 4,000 gold and brought this back at the 26-minute mark. I kind of pulled up, I got Monk Mentality as a friend here, and looking at the gold graph, they put up one hell of a fight here at what looks like a Baron fight that I'd be curious to check out later. Um, but yeah, it just looks like Ninja Turtles, their comp gets increasingly more and more difficult to pull off, as you mentioned when the game starts to scale. Um, because Aphelios really doesn't mind people running into him as long as he has either enough threats to soak up cooldown in front of him or enough tank stats to soak up cooldowns. So, um, yeah, this looks like an absolute banger of a series. I mean, there's only one kill diff. Again, Femboy's damage spread was a little more imbalanced here as Mac did most of the load here, but it's also Aphelios, so he has a lot of deceiving like AoE damage.
Yeah.
But no, I'm just like I said, I'm super happy. Like Ninja Turks, they showed up to play. It looks like they had one of their best series of the split so far, and I will make sure this gets on YouTube because this looks like a banger series.
Absolutely. Well, let's knock out the last one here in Group A, which was Instinct CK versus Solus Endeavor Esports. And Instinct has had some challenges. I think everybody in this group is kind of gunning for them. Honestly, it's not an easy group to be in, as I already stated, and Solus was no different. I think Solus had opportunities in this game to win. Darius comes to mind. I know you probably haven't watched the game, but my man had a quadra and a triple kill this game.
Oh,
Um, it just the rest of the team wasn't able to get enough going, and it kind of cost them. Well, on the other side, Good Boy and Optima and Eclipse were just absolutely going off. I mean, Good Boy found so many nice little engages himself. Don Don found a couple too, where he got like I remember a triple man. I think at like either Drake and or Atacon. I mean, these two teams were battling it out, but it just seemed every time it felt like Solace might have a chance, it got pulled away from them by Instincts here. So, but yeah, that Darius was absolutely disgusting. I have to say, like highlight. I hope he ends up on the highlights, man, because he deserves to be.
yeah, I think Mono's got his job cut out for him on the highlight videos
Yeah, I mean,
this week. There were so many plays.
there were highlight plays from even like games that were lost by teams, or not even just lost by teams. Like they lost a series, but like there was still a highlight clip by a player in that game, or one of those games. Like that's it was fun. It was definitely a fun week. I would say one of the best weeks we've had this split. So
I would I would agree.
if not the best.
I would go out and limb say it was one of the best weeks that we've had action wise since I started doing this last three splits, but definitely the best week this week. Like there was so many entertaining games here, and I mean, like this one just screams entertainment. Screw the utility support. Screw the Braum and Leona. We're gonna have a freaking Corky Brand versus Jin Nico. Like there's no shortage of fighting in this game.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and there was a play here at the 20-minute mark where they flipped Otacon um, on the side of Solus. They said, so we're just going to do it. We're just going for it now on spawn. They get the Otacon, which is part of the reason I think they ended up staying in the game. But then they still lose the fight because Otacon still does a lot of damage. And it was just like, man, every little play was just so back and forth. I mean, the game was tight majority of the time. The gold really didn't explode until later on in the game once they broke the open turrets and started, getting into the inhibitor. I'm trying to find the Darius clip for you though, cause that shit was nasty.
Yeah, This is what like the third or fourth time we've seen Vagar this split, and
Okay,
I feel like this might be like
27 minutes is the Darius Quadrigo. But go ahead with the Vagar. I'm sorry.
I'm I think that's probably like the one thing I'm just interested to hear people's takes because like I feel like Vagar has a really hard time competing against some of the other like slower scaling champs. Like we've seen Acel have a boatload of success in this league, and I just feel like what does Vagar bring you that Acel doesn't? Yeah, in this regard, especially if you're gonna play like a front to back comp where Xin Zhao's able to negate damage with the ult, and Galio's just freaking Galio.
Yeah. Well, I don't
So
I don't know. Like, I mean, so one aspect of it is do they play the champion, right? If they don't play Asol, like then they're gonna play Vigar. And then on the second side of it is like you can say they do like what does Acel do that Veigar can do, but I actually think they're different champions still. Like they're not
I
exactly the same.
I
So
agree, but if you're going this Roa Seraphs build, you're going more of a late game like tankier battle magey style. I feel like Acel fits that build better. But then on the other side of the aspect is if you're going more burst mage like Luden's Companion, um, into like Storm Surge, I would argue Syndra does, scales just as good and actually is better front to back if you do get behind on like a burst mage tile. So I mean, I'm skimming through this game now and even looking at the stats, Vagar for as much damage as that champion brings, it just feels like he was too slow paced for this game. And likewise, like Brand was like a perfect answer at support. I mean, does 30% of his team's damage at a support. Granted, it is Brand, but Oh Lord, I just watched his triple kill. Yeah,
That's triple.
yeah,
There's a quadra.
yep,
That's the 27. Yeah, he has a triple kill too. He was having a game, man. He had a
yeah.
series in my opinion. He played really well in game two as well. Was really sad to. Again, you kind of watch it. You kind of feel bad. You're like, oh man, like Instinct doesn't need this win. You know, like they could have suffered and been fine. So you just want to see somebody else pull it out, but it's okay. Solace is still in the race by all means. They've got a victory on their
Yeah.
stat sheet as a team. So, but it was definitely fun to watch this game
Talk
one.
about talk about Good Boy putting up 40% of his team's
Oh,
damage
dude,
this
good
game.
boy,
One
good boy
whole
went, good boy went
Lord.
absolutely off. I'm telling you, he was just finding engages himself. Like he'd get like, there was one fight where he got like multiple people with the knockback into the little rocks, and got the stun. I mean, the
Yeah.
dude was just like, he was doing everything, man. He was all over the map. Very, very good. And it was funny because we're gonna jump in here into game two in a second, but I think while all the work Good Boy was doing on the top side of the map, Arctic was quietly doing not much in both games. And I thought it was funny. His score lines will tell you he was a part of things, but if you watch majority of the game, he was either 0-1 or 1-1 for like half the game. Dude was just chilling. So I'm trying to remember who won a game. Either it was last split or the split before where they went 0-0-0 until literally the Nexus was dying. Who was that? Do you remember? It was an
I
Alawi player.
I think so. Yeah, it was like an Alawi game. I don't remember the player, but yeah, we've we've had some interesting score lines.
Yeah, yeah. So,
Um,
but yeah, we'll,
yeah,
we'll jump in here into game two. So we don't play enough. I think he played pretty solid in this game too. Um, but he just was in a really rough matchup here against Trundle. I wasn't sure if it was gonna go as bad as I thought it was, but once Trundle got to his Ravenous Hydra plus having his ult, like he just basically never died, unless the cooldown, unless his subjugate was down. And so Shogath didn't really have an answer, and Arctic just stayed splitting. While Arctic was doing that, they just couldn't manage to win the 4v4s. So the only way they'd win is if Cho'Gath was there. And so they kind of just struggled. But Pirate King, this was his game also. Like I think he had a really good opportunity to carry. Played pretty well in the mid lane. Even solo killed Good Boy a couple times. Um,
oh, damn.
nothing to take away from Good Boy because Good Boy did have a good game, but it was very tight, very tightly contested. I honestly would go on a limb and say Don Don was probably like the MVP of this game, more than any of the damage dealers, because he found some nasty snap engages throughout the game. Somewhere like they should have lost the fight, but he just goes, no, "Don't worry about it, guys. I got this." It was like a Drake fight or something where maybe jungler got picked or something like that. Somebody got blown up, and then he just turned and said, "No, we're winning this fight." Maybe I can find it for you and locate it.
Yeah, that's I mean, actually, looking at this now, that is pretty ballsy just for picking an Naafiri mid, because that's not something that's been played at all this series. Was it just or this split? But I don't normally see it anymore. It's just either taken by junglers or just not taken at all. So yeah, Pirate King definitely pulling out something interesting here, and it looks like he popped off on it.
Yeah, I mean your top laner pulled it out this split, so it has been done, but it is
Yeah.
not as common.
Well, I mean that is Shreed, so
Yes, Shreeze likes Neferi. I don't know where is this play. I wanted to show the clip to you if I could just find it. Okay, I think I found it. I think. Yeah, so it's at the 12-minute mark, 12:15. The
I
fight
just
breaks
missed it.
out. They literally Optima just disappears, gets one shot basically, and then Don Don turns her right back. Lions is really low, and Eclipse and Good Boy just gets either damage for free, and then the fight's over. And when I watched back the clip, something I thought to myself was they actually used the Nautilus all onto
Oh
Don Don.
my Don Don. Oh
If they just kill Don Don there, I actually think they win the fight. I think Amumu just needs to ult immediately. Ult immediately, focus support. Wukong comes in, doesn't matter, y'all can kill him right after. And once that's done, like Good Boy and Eclipse, all they have is damage. I mean, technically they have some CC, but like, you know what I mean? Like, they don't have really the lockdown. So if anyone's able to touch them and get on their face, like they're screwed. So they probably just have to leave at the best Maybe they try to trade for a kill or something, but like I think that was a bit
Mm.
of a mistake there on of us on their part there on Solus. I think you just got to turn and you just got to take the fight. So, but
Yeah.
onto the support.
Ooh.
I know it seems troll to some people, but killing the support is sometimes just as good as killing anybody else on the team.
I don't 100%. I'm not 100% sold that they had the damage for it because he hits 3 people and then Qs them with aftershock up. So he's got to have north of like 250 armor and MR
Well, again,
in
if
there.
they just use their CC right, like so they landed everything initially on him, they got the bandage toss right after, and then if they just click Curse of the Sad Mommy and then just focus him like the comms are focus the
Mm.
support, I think it's fine. Support dies before he can get anything off.
I see what you're saying now. Yeah, yeah. Now that I look at it one more time. Yeah, yeah. I think that's their best chance of winning. But I mean, Don Don's stupid tanky on this thing.
Yeah, once
Without
he did what you said, like yeah, he was
yeah.
gonna be uber tank. So
Mhm. But yeah, really nice to see Solus Endeavor put up a fight. You know, similar to what we were saying about last series. Like there was very few one-sided series. Like all of these teams feel like they improved and gave some of these top tier teams a run for their money.
yeah, I think Solus is really good. By the way, I think they again could be easily a playoff team if they're just in another group. And I still think they have a good shot because I do think they have a high potential to beat Coin Flip, and that's really who they have to beat right now. If they can beat Coin Flip, then they're going to be in the running for that third seed. We'll talk about that at some point, but I do think they have a real good shot at doing that. So,
It's a week 5 matchup.
yeah, so we could be looking at a win and in scenario there, but yeah, it'll be very exciting. So let's go ahead and jump into Group B here, which had some fun matchups for sure. The funnest is obviously the one there you guys see in the bottom, but we'll start with the top one. So Vibe Check versus UAFS Esports, which I do actually think was a very very fun series actually, but again we'll get to the last series there in the group because I think that one might have been slightly more exciting to watch. But yeah, so we got the patented Victor Apple Sejuani mid because we all know that's just like the best thing ever. But here's some exciting stuff. LeBlanc support into Zed support. I think that's pretty hype. Totally what we wanted to see, right?
Didn't no one want to play any meta supports? It looks like this week.
Nah, dude, why do that? That's not what this
Not
game's
not
about.
in this group. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. I think looking back when you go and watch this game a bit, CLT, I think UAFS actually had, to me, at one point, even the upper hand in this game. They probably could have easily won it, but it always takes just this little small play here or there, flip it here, and then all of a sudden it just kind of game breaks. But they were close, man. I think LeBlanc is a good pick into the Zed support though, because in lane Zed loses the early levels, right? He only gets kill threat once he hits 6. Before that, I mean, he could kill her technically, but like, let's be honest, no, LeBlanc's just gonna let you do your whole combo on her face, auto her, ignite her, and walk her down. Like she's gonna use something more than likely, and you're not gonna kill her. So it was really smart there, in my opinion. And these two were duking it out early on in lane and doing pretty well. Um, but then things kind of fell apart for the bot lane, and that was more on just like how good Sofa was on this Cho'Gath. Nami's finding great engages on this Lissandra. But like,
This Lysandra pick was so goaded here.
yeah, I think so. I think it was really smart. Uh, but yeah, it was insane game, man. By all means.
Yeah, I'm kind of skimming through this, and I don't want to say I was like not waiting on this, but like Vibe Check has had so many different hooks in the draft, and this actually looks like one of the drafts where they cooked the least, honestly, because we've seen LeBlanc support before. We know Victor's played this Sejuani mid, but I think they ran into a team that has a champ pool that definitely counters some of this, or at least makes him a lot harder to play this game. Because
Yeah.
yeah, I look at Lysandra in this spot, and I'm like, she CC's LeBlanc. She does very well in lane against Sejuani. Vi can't ult her. Gwen gets locked down. Like it's I I would be curious to see like how tough List made this game, but this definitely looks really entertaining.
Yeah. What I will say is there was a nasty after pack play in this game. I'm gonna see if I can find it. Where like it looks kind of like, I don't want to say like doomed in the fight, but it's looking really bad for Vibe Check, and then dude just unleashes hell upon the whole team and just
When gaming,
completely pops off. Is he maybe around like a Herald or something? I'm thinking. Let me see. Um, well, maybe not. No,
hmm,
not there. I gotta find it. It's an insane play. And
yeah,
this is kind of
double
what I was
killed
talking
your butt.
about. Like I feel. Yeah, I think it was this Herald. Yeah, the quadra kill. Yep, it was the Herald. So, 18 minutes and 50 seconds around when the clip starts. And at this point, I mean, this whole series, these teams were like neck and neck with their scores, like gold wise. It was constantly 35K to 35K, 36, like
Mhm.
always like that all game. It was on a knife's edge. But yeah, the fight looks like it's going heavy into UAFS. They get a couple picks to start the fight, and then all of a sudden, dude just starts going off, gets a quadra kill, nearly gets the penta, but unfortunately, he
Oh
looks like he gets
my.
chunked by Lysandra passive, and then it ends up being a net positive for the side of UAFS. So what could have been a complete UFFS stomp in the fight turns into a way closer fight because of Afterpack, and then AG Turtle says, "I'll finish it off, guys. Don't worry about it." And then we're tied neck and neck at 38K. It's like what the hell?
Jeez Louise, yeah, Lysandra passive went burr in that fight.
Yeah, but I
Uh,
mean, all game it was constantly situations where you just don't know what's gonna happen because these teams just were really close. And I should point out that Darkhound was subbing in as well for Aristotle, so that was part of it. But that might have been a little bit of the throwing off vibe checks play there. But at the
he
same
threw off
point,
the vibe.
he threw off the vibe. Yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
But at the end of the day, like vibe check did find a way to get the win. Man, I think this game ended in some weird way too. I gotta double check here. Where I was just like, and that's how it ends. I could have sworn this was the one where I said that. Okay, let's go. No, it wasn't this one. They win a Baron fight and then they
Yeah,
walk it down. There was another game though where I just was so lost, bro. Like the way the game ended was just astounding to me. But you can see the gold here. It's 66K to 66K when they're walking it down to end the game. Like that's
yeah,
ridiculous, man. And they didn't even get the Baron. It was the other team. Oh, it was so fun. So fun right there.
yeah. Interest. Yeah. This looks like a very entertaining game. I wish I would have caught more of this.
Yeah. But yeah,
Let's go
that
look at
we'll
game two here.
yeah, we'll jump in there. And game two,
Oh,
Bori went completely off on this Neferi jungle. Victor Apple was insane on the Skarner, and Afterpack quietly had a really nice performance on the Croc. Uh, no matter
what?
what, though the scores say, this game was still very close too, and still a back and forth. Um, Nami's playing Jinzhao, ended up swapping and going top. That was interesting. That was a bit of a, and he went TP Ignite, so he didn't have any flash. He traded early, like he was in a 1v2 and traded early where he killed the crocodile and died to Neferi, but nearly 1v2'd. I only imagine what the game would have been if he actually would have got the double kill there. And Rammus' response into Neferi makes sense. And there wasn't really much kill threat on Rammus except for Ziggs. But he didn't get ahead enough. Neferi got too big. And like the comp they drafted, just it didn't seem bad from UAFS. It's just nothing really worked out in their favor, and they got to a point where they could not kill the beef. Like there was fights where literally it was just Victor Apple, Afterpack, and a Fairy just walking at them, basically being like these tanky, uh, bruiser-esque champions.
Uh, this ends mid. Well, wait, so this ends out top? Did they lane swap?
Yeah, they lane swapped.
Okay. Zin's on top, I definitely think is like it finds a way to actually bully Renekton and some of the other early game champs really well. But man, I don't. This team comp for uh, UAFS is a little all over the place. And I definitely think not having magic damage really hurts them in the long run, if I were to guess.
Yeah, no, it definitely did. I feel like they needed to have something that could kill tanks. That's about it. In theory, they do, because Yone can get Bork and cut down some of the HP that the Skarner is building, and as well as the Neferi. But it just wasn't enough. You need something else. Because even a full tank or full damage MF bullet time, I just don't think that's killing Skarner. Like, he's fine.
Yeah, agreed.
And lacking AP too, which is something I didn't even think about in this game, was also an issue.
Yeah. Yeah, Skarner just literally can itemize every single armor item. Basically play like a pseudo Malphite game and just there's nothing you can do.
There was a sick clip though. I can go back early on. Dude, Victor got a freaking solo kill in the mid lane. He E'd back the 3 minutes and like 10 seconds. He E'd back Sofa under the turret. It was so disgusting. I couldn't help but be like, "Oh shit, that was good, man. That was legit."
Yeah, I've seen some like solo lane Skarner stuff where they can kind of threaten that a little bit. But yeah, it's Victor. He's oh man, okay, yeah, that's kind of dirty. Yeah, but that's yeah, this team comp by UAFS, I think it gets very heavily outscaled just very early in the game. So, but they still almost made it work. Like this game still looks pretty close for the most part.
Yeah, I mean, even at
Um,
23 minutes, it's only about 4K. Um, so it was, it didn't, it started to fall apart there at that point, but it was still pretty tight up to around the 20-minute mark. So, and then the Fairy just started running over the game, and then the tanks were unkillable, and then that was all they wrote.
yep.
But let's go see what they wrote about for fun at 20 versus Bucket John Betts, who have been a really spicy sleeper team for me. Bucket John Betts, really getting to see them play and get to know them. Really, really cool team. Um, but yeah, I know you played in this, and I remember casting it now. I was like, wait, did I cast it? And I said, yeah, there you are. I casted this one. But I'll let you kind of talk about it a little bit just because you were in the game. Kind of give me your breakdown of what you think was what happened there in game one.
So game one, I did happen to sub in here. They needed a top lane sub, and
Oh no, I didn't cast. I watched it live. My apologies, guys. It was Nexus.
yeah, yeah, you were flaming me from the stands. It's all good.
It's not flaming you from the stands. Get that right.
But nah. So we had a like our game plan. They definitely wanted me on something a little more comfort, but we felt like going anything damage in the top lane was going to be rough. So I ended up taking the Galio just because they had a Viracon kind of poppy comp going, and I know Traxxas really loves the Yasuo, so I wanted to get something to just kind of enable that, or if he got jumped on, something that can play off that. So we did fairly well in the early game, if I remember it correctly. Like we were pretty even, but then a couple of the back timers for the bot lane, like they would just end up getting chunked and have to back, and that lost us tempo for some of the objectives here. So that kind of really started to grind on us a little bit in this game. But overall, I think Frozen had actually like a really solid series. He pulled out the Viego and did some work in the early to mid game. It was just the bot side of the map I felt like had a lot of pressure, and we just really, without me being there, which I have to respond to Poppy split a little bit, play the TP angle. it's hard to walk into Fog of War with Rakan Vi and not be like super chunked. And that's really where this game just kind of started to fall apart.
Yeah, I mean that's pretty much what I saw from when I was watching it. Um, I will say I think Trazix played really really well in the mid on this Yasuo though.
Mhm.
It's some really really
Yeah,
clean
he
plays,
has a yeah, he has a nasty Yasuo.
but like it just seemed like it didn't really matter much what he was doing because besides him and Frozen Ace, like no one else could really get anything off the ground. Not that you were doing anything bad really. It's just no one could really get a meaningful lead otherwise, and in a comp that I feel like really needs to one keep the Cephalios afloat, but two kind of set up again the Viego resets. I don't think that really existed
Hmm.
for the comp. So I mean, you guys didn't have any real engage, and the best knockup you had for Yasuo was Galio landing R or E, and those are like unlikely to happen where you get a perfect Yasuo situation off those. So, but at the same point, I think that for fun at 20 and you and yourself did put up a nice fight here into Bucket John Bets. But what is your kind of view after playing against them? Like now we've had our opinions of them throughout the split. We think they're pretty good, but like, what do you think after facing them?
I think they're a really, really disciplined team. Like they're really strong laners, but they understand after the laning phase kind of ends, where they can push their leads, what part of the maps they can invade, and they invade well as a group. You looking back at some of the replay here now, they never ever just sent like the jungler to invade or get wards or a support. Like they always invaded as a group. So fundamentally, they're an extremely strong team. It was when you think you got a pick or you could make a play or try to do something to like grind this game back. There was three people there, which is just really solid fundamentals for the team.
Yeah, that's kind of a fair breakdown. I do think they understand how to push a lead and how to end a
Yeah.
game. I mean that's what you see from most of the top teams. I think when you're playing against an equal opponent as a top team, it's a little harder to do so. But they still know how to end the game. It's not like can we end the game? Like we still know everyone still knows how to do it, but then the
Hmm.
team that's losing knows how to actually battle back better. Um, and so that's the difference in these top teams and these lower teams in terms of that are just like they know how to end and stay in a game. But it no matter what, when you're the team are behind, like you're usually, especially if it's a decent lead, 4 or 5K, you're usually gonna lose that game. If you manage to win it, you get some nice lucky little type team fight or something. Maybe you flip Baron and you steal it or some shit. Generally speaking, though, with these top teams, you're looking at a GG at that point.
Yeah. I think the difference between like a good team and a great team is like the good teams they know what to do, but like the great teams know what to do and what not to do. Like they understand how to like not just let a gold lead snowball and let it get chipped away at them to where it's like all of a sudden a big team fight that they just auto lose to where like some of the other teams, my team included, it's just like when that ball's rolling downhill, we have a very hard time trying to stop it. You either overreach for plays or you're not making good counter tempo plays across the map.
Yeah, and this Bucket John Betts team seems to be very balanced. I'm looking at the
Yeah.
percentage damage. It's pretty balanced out. But let's jump into the next game here, and that's one that I think was an absolutely crazy performance by Miss Shire here on this virus. It was pretty disgusting.
Yeah, there was zero ways of getting into the back line at all. Um, we did kind of throw a little bit of a curveball. Mage was like, "Hey, we can create some opportunities. Let's play the Swain, and if needed, like I can take a top lane." So the thought was open, but once we committed it to support, I think they R5 the Silas. No, they B5 the Silas because we picked Swain early. and that was kind of a curveball. But also, like going into this game, I was willing to play something different in the top lane, and I think in the right after the first ban phase, Frozen's like, "Yo, Anivia's up." I'm like, "If you want me to, I'll pull the trigger." So he's like, "Yeah, do it." So we originally I think we're going to lane swap Darius up top and Anivia and the Corki, but I was okay with either side of it. Corki is quite annoying early, uh, especially like really really good Corki. So he's like, I can play against the Corki, and when maybe we can lane swap later. So I don't think Leshy was kind of prepared for a mage top as Pantheon. Um, He did almost get a solo kill on me, but turret OP at lower levels, and the egg passive is really hard to take down. It's hard to kill Anivia twice in the early game with that passive, so I ended up kind of turning that around a little bit. Um, and once we swapped, then I could try and control the game a little bit with wave clear. But they set up a really good level 3 dive on our bot lane after they got a kill on mage. Then they just set up a dive onto Ishbal. So uh, bot lane started to kind of get a little bit out of control here. And then again in the mid game when they were ahead, it's just when Zyra's ahead, it's impossible to walk into her. It feels like without like a really stupid hard engage comp.
The crazy part, I don't even think the Zyra was doing like crazy stuff in the game. It just was that she existed. Like
Yeah,
honestly.
yeah, exactly. It's
Uh,
like I mean, I remember playing against what Flame Dog last year against like his Zyra, and it's just like it's even if the champ's not ahead, if you do not have hard engage, Zyra just feels impossible to walk into.
yeah. No, I mean it was a comp that clearly was built around let's just not allow Wukong to play the game, keep ourselves safe, and
Yeah.
then we could just kind of kite and do damage to everybody else. We're pretty much free. Um, there were some fights that you guys had where it was it was good, it was close, and it seemed like maybe you guys had chances back in it. But it's just like you said, you really couldn't stick to the Varus much because the Zyra was stopping that from happening. And I
Freaking
don't even
plain.
know how many times he was even in kill threat. Like the guy was pretty safe majority of the game.
Yeah. Yeah, when you got Silas with Swain all, you got Zyra playing still just walk into, and we don't really have the hardest engage. It was impossible to get to Messiah here.
Yeah, so great performance by him. You don't see AD carries go off like this. I mean, this. And what I mean by that, you do see them do damage. You do see them get kills. But I'm talking about a perfect game out of an AD carry.
Yeah.
That is mighty impressive out of him. And um, I'm not
I
gonna
don't even
I'm not gonna go and say like this is my MVP, but I mean, if we start talking MVP, we can start talking MVP right now. Like a performance like that gets you into the conversation. So, really well played by him, man.
Yeah, if you count my passive, he might have went 25 and one or no.
Maybe, but I don't think he kills you that many times. I don't think he was a part of the killing you as much. So, but yeah,
Yeah.
it was a fun series, man, and congratulations to Bucket John Betts. You guys find yourselves tied at the top of the standings with Vibe Check, and I know you guys played Sunday, but we're gonna pretend like we don't know what happened in that game. I know, but I'm gonna pretend like I don't know. So, anyways, let's jump into the next series, which was the one you casted Sunday night, Cal Poly 2 versus Capuchungus, Clungus Among
Fungus.
Us.
Yeah, this hot take, this is the series of the week. Like this series was nonstop. Top to bottom, front to back, however you want to phrase it. Like I absolutely enjoyed this series. I enjoyed casting it. I enjoyed watching it. I enjoyed the interaction with everybody wondering what the hell was this Roa Shin doing in game one. And yeah, that's going to be a repeating thing as we talk about this series, but no, this just getting started off with game one, by the way. This team comp by Cal Poly that they drafted might be one of the most annoying team comps I've ever seen in my life because there is nothing killing anybody. This is Dan Kindred, Zillion, Renata Glass protecting Jinx. This Jinx is never gonna die. Even there were some fights where they didn't play it like the most optimally. You would see Shen, Kindred, and Zillion ult on this Jinx at the same time. It just didn't freaking matter. I thought at the end of the draft when they picked York, I was like, okay, York can definitely split push and at least try to punish Shen. And he did have a couple of really solid attempts in lane. I even think he got a solo kill or two. But um yeah, this Jubilatory could have basically just went on autopilot and never died in this game. It was insane. Garvin felt really bad engaging into it because he's just like, I'm engaging to my death. It was a rough game for KCA here with this comp. I do feel like the Victor was a good pick. We could nitpick at the build a little bit, but I think at the end of the day, no matter what, without like an AD carry or even like a secondary mage to just wave clear and stall this game for York, it's really, really hard for KCA to play this game.
This is
Yeah,
an
this comp,
insanely low kill game too. What in the world? 8-2. 8 to
bro,
2. Oh my
how
god.
are you killing Cal Poly? Like you can't. It's absolutely insane.
This
Three
is
members have ways of keeping themselves alive. If Jinx ever gets died on, it's an AP Shen with redemption, by the way.
oh my
It's like,
god.
dude, I was sitting there in the cast, I'm like, you eventually have to pull the trigger. And when they did, Cal Poly just pressed all the not die buttons, and it was like, what?
Like this comp could definitely suffer, but like
Yeah,
you have to punish it early on for sure. Like you have to be the team that has 10, 15, 20 kills by like 15 minutes or some shit to make this team comp not get to the point where you can't touch it. That's
yeah.
insane. 8 kills to 2. My goodness. Listen, I do have to say one thing. The fact that Cal Poly also only killed them 8 times is also just as impressive on the side of
Yeah.
Capitungas. Bro, like this game was like a pro game from like LCK 2014. Like what the hell, man?
Yeah, this comp was kind of disgusting to watch, and I really felt bad for KCA because like they showed up to ball this series, and we'll allude to it in the second and third game, but yeah, this they did everything right to put their comp in a position, and they still couldn't do anything. Like they got 3 grubs for York. York ended up getting a few solo kills against this AP Shen, which Eyeglasses build this whole series was a big talk in the chat. We'll get to that, but bro, this game one, it wasn't as slow as it looked like on paper, but yeah, this comp was just absolutely fucking annoying to watch.
Dude, the
I'm
way
not
the
gonna lie.
game ends is just sad, bro. Like why didn't why didn't everybody just reset and Giga just jump on their faces? At least try. By the time
Yeah,
they
but like
did, it was so late. Oh man, it's so
yeah,
sad.
but like look at this fight at the 26-minute mark. Like XDD goes in when Ghost Freak was basically like almost dead, and then everything just piles on the Ghost Freak, and you're just sitting there like,
Yeah. Oh,
what?
this
What
is the
can I
one.
do
This
against
is the
that?
one I caught. Yeah, I caught this
Yeah,
one. Cause I click
you're
in
just
and I see a fight, and then I'm like, oh, okay, this is far up there. It's like 4 kills to one. So I'm thinking it's like 14 minutes in the game or something. They took mid turret, and then I realized, I look at the time and I'm like, 26 minutes, bro. What the hell is
yeah,
going on?
yeah.
Yeah. All right, man. Let's move on to game two.
Oh,
This insane. All right. All
oh
right. This is a
man,
normal game. This is a normal game. Okay, cool.
this was not that normal.
I mean, builds might be funny, but this was a normal game. The kills tell me normal. So
Yeah,
that's good enough for me, bro.
that's okay. Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. Yeah, this game two was super back and forth. Um, I thought KCA picking the Asol as kind of a counter pick in the Mel was super clutch here. The Poppy response and the Vi, like Casey put themselves, in my opinion, in a really good position. to win this game just from the draft alone. But then yeah, as we get into this game, there was kind of fighting everywhere, and this was kind of where Golden Sunset I felt like made a name for himself, especially in this series because
Yo,
this.
oh my goodness. I keep talking and all, but like this cancel by Gyarados on the Poppy ulti with Vi was insane. Bro,
Yes,
oh
yeah,
my
he
god.
did that. We were. I was gonna kind of like go to the back and forth on that one, but yeah, Gyarados, especially a top lane, I think twice when he got Poppy ulted would then time the Vi ult, and you'd see him fly off the screen and then fly back. It was super clutch knowing that interaction and pulling it off a few times in this game. But I really think this game started to kind of blow open when Asol started to scale. He had a fight in the dragon area somewhere in the mid game where he got a few kills and just really got caught up on stacks because Gojo was making it difficult for him to play. Vi ulted him a couple times in some previous team fights, so like they were doing everything they could to stop this Asol from scaling. But Golden Sunset really like held the anchor down on the KCA team to allow Tickle to scale up and be super effective in these fights. But
Yeah,
yeah,
good old tickle booty. What are you afraid to say it? Come on, dude. Good old
but
tickle booty was on the case. He tickled some booties. Uh,
yeah, I think I really would have liked to see how much more snowbally this game could have gotten if it wasn't a flippin' Roa Scion. Like I respect the cook, but I felt like that was really tough. I mean, when you're not getting MR until third item into a Leandra's Asol, I mean, it's gonna be really difficult. He did eventually go Abyssal Mask, but the fact that he went Roa in the Trailblazer, I'm like, what the hell is this dude doing? On top of first strike cashback, like I
yeah, like
don't. This
was he like, yo guys, I don't really care about winning this game. Let's just have fun. Is this what's happening at this point?
when I talked to Jubilatory at the end, it's sound logic of like, hey, I get an extra level's worth of stats from the Roa, which in theory is great until everybody's level 18 and the stats just get nullified. Which actually, I believe he then, after all of that, sold the Roa late game for some more. Yeah, he sold the Roa and boots to go into Unending Despair Spirit Visage. So this was again a very entertaining, fun game. And Golden Sunset had a moment here. Let me try and find it as I'm talking, where he jumped over the mid lane like river wall into mid into like four people and got just like a double kill and then jumped straight out. That was like some sneaky level shit. Um, but yeah, Golden Sunset on this Tristana had like an insane game. We had an insane series to be honest, but yeah, this game 2, game 3 was just really solid by him, except for when he died from the Scion passive at 30 minutes.
Hmm. Can't be doing that. That's troll. That's troll. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
that's kind of funny to see this funny build top lane. Um,
Oh, it gets funnier.
I already know. I remember watching a bit of this game. I don't know how much I watched, but this game does look more familiar already. I know
I,
it, so.
yeah,
But
yeah. This
how
was
did this
a
game end? 47
uh,
minutes, 39 minutes,
mm,
41 minutes. Oh, nice Zanya's by Tickle Booty on the
mm,
Scion ulti there. 40.
yes.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so this game ends a little before this. All right, so
Oh,
42.
it was that last fight at 43 minutes where I think Golden jumped over the wall and just like basically just man moded the rest of this fight. Yeah, yeah. So Poppy ends up flinging everybody out, and then Golden's like, okay, go button, and just gets a triple kill. I think he ends up getting a double kill. Uh,
Oh wow,
Yeah, I
he
think.
just jumps right. Oh my goodness, that's so
Yeah,
close. Well
yeah,
played. Well played, Mr. Golden.
yep.
Well played. Nice flash
I,
too on the buffer jump there too on the
mhm.
Scion. Yeah,
I
no, that
sent
was
that straight.
clean.
I sent that message straight to Mono, like while we were going in game three. I'm like, check this shit out.
Two.
Which Mono's no stranger to jumping in as Tristana either.
Yeah, no pentakills for anybody, huh? Everyone's pentakills are just denied all the time. All right. Well, let's jump into game three and end out this series and end out Group B.
Man,
Uh,
game three was kind of the Gojo jubilatory show after we all got over eyeless glasses building Roa on Scion, and then we see them load up with First Strike and build Roa on Ornn.
why not? Just build Roa. Just build Serpent's Fang. Just build whatever you want. It doesn't matter because your team was carrying you, eyeglasses.
I messaged I think it was Brandino and I just went, so how much cooking do you like? He's like, what do you mean? I'm like, check the stream. He's like, what the hell? I'm like, yeah, yeah, that was something. Which honestly, I'm not gonna lie, the First Strike Ornn actually put up a fight against Mordekaiser, which I think is pretty Mordekaiser favored. So I'm not sure if this is just some tech that he's now trying on other stuff, but he went Roa on all three games. Went First Strike cash back on the last two games on Scion and Ornn. It's like the level up makes sense on Ornn. I actually did like talk to Jubilatory a little bit more about it, and I'm like the level up makes sense just because if you get a level up and it's like either level 13 or 14, you're getting the level up stats plus 1,000 gold from the Ornn item. So it does make sense in that regard, but the rest of the build, I'm like, what the actual hell?
Yeah, I liked seeing Gyarados put out this Neferi again because I think
Mhm.
it actually was not a bad pick for him last week. So I liked seeing him pull it out again, and he looked really solid on the pick. Because I remember watching this game and being like, "There it is, buddy." Let me see that again. Because I don't think his Neferi looks bad at all. It felt like a Gyarados champ.
I mean, I would argue I think his Nefiri is one of the best in the leagues, like especially when it's come in the jungle. Like there's people pulling it out, but not to the success that Gyarados has had on it.
Bori's like, "Hold my beer, dude."
Bori's another one. I will give Bori that, but like Gyarados, when you see the Nefiri, you're really scared of it. To the other players, you're just like, you got to prove to me that I need to be scared of it. But looking at where this game like started to break open a little bit here, this 20-minute fight where Gojo had just an absolute insane Hui ult to kind of start this fight over. It was an EE into an R, so he got like a three-man passive on everybody. Was absolutely insane, and then Gyarados just kind of started. He dove in, but then Jubilatory started to clean up as well.
Yeah, I mean that damage really sets up the Neferi to do work, but unfortunately, Neferi did get kind of outplayed a little bit there. But yeah, like you said, everybody else on the team was able to help out and set him up. So,
Yeah,
but yeah, I mean it
but
was a really fun game to watch. I remember watching this game actually. This is the one I watched, and it was pretty exciting. And Jubilatory had a really nice performance on the Ezreal, and I remember kind of going like, "Oh shit!" Like, I guess this is a Jubilatory champion. Just give him Ezreal because this is
hmm
really good. Um,
yeah,
but yeah, the Orange just chilled top lane. Like the Orange didn't do anything. That's why I said like eyeglasses. You got carried this game, buddy, because you just watched the whole map. He was split pushing and team fights were breaking out. I'm like, you're Orn. You're freaking Orn. Why are you split pushing? That was me in the stands, bro. I just didn't understand. I just didn't get it.
yeah.
But
There
yeah,
was I mean, KCA put up a really solid fight in one of these pushes where they were at the Nexus turret where Golden Sunset got off a really good ricochet and just really like carried this fight here
yeah.
to stall this game out a few more minutes.
No, I think KCA looked good in the series. I was
This was their best
really
series
yeah.
of the split easily.
Honestly, based on their performances now over the 3 weeks, like though they haven't won a game, I think they've looked pretty solid as a team. Like they're not a bad squad, but like it's hard. Some of these groups are just really stacked, and I think Group B is another one that I think's up there as a pretty stacked group. Because even Cal Poly, who we all think is a playoff team in our head, is probably not going to make playoffs at the pace it's going, and they're a good team. So KCA, I mean, they don't look bad at all. Just you kind of drew the short end of the stick again as well, similar to Royal Rogues. You just end up in a really hard group, and good luck.
Yep.
So let's go ahead and get into the one you casted last night, I believe, which was a rerun cast, but it was Vancouver Impact Challengers versus Happy Jellyfish.
Well, Happy Jellyfish definitely wasn't too happy after this first game. Looking at it,
Using the same joke you used on stream yesterday, guys. Don't worry.
I mean, yeah, I'm repetitive. What else is
You
new?
should, you know, what you should
Um,
have said. You should have said. You could say Happy Jellyfish is sad jellyfish.
yeah. Well, I think the saddest of all the jellyfish was Rico in this game one because he got picked the hell on
Well,
with this.
Rika is not a sad jellyfish. He's a happy jellyfish. Okay.
Well, he wasn't happy this game.
No, he wasn't. But are you getting the joke here? It's they were
Yeah, I
sad.
get the
They
joke.
reverted back to sad. They went backwards in time. It's the old team. No, TLC didn't get the
Well,
joke, guys. He missed it.
sure. Vancouver brought it to them this game one. Like Verika had a hard time. They centered in on him. Zweb pulled out probably one of the cleanest Lee Sins performances I've seen in a bit. Like he was his damage wasn't super high, but it felt like he was always in the right place at the right time. MLAC even got a solo kill early on Rurika here, and I felt like Happy Jellyfish got the match, or I'm sorry, Vancouver got the matchup they want in top lane. I mean, everybody knows who's been around here for a bit that Dippy has a pretty wide champion pool, but he's not a big fan of tanks. So a Malphite into Scion meant that the advantages that Happy Jellyfish get through lane are much more difficult. I mean, you really only have mid lane that has the tools to create their own advantage here. And once mid lane fell behind, it felt like Vancouver just started to pull them around the map. It became really difficult overall for this Vi Ari combo to get off the ground. I mean, they had moments where Rurika would land a charm off the Vi ult, but it just Rurika just was so far behind that they just didn't have the damage to really one-shot anybody. And I mean, and your targets basically is Zoe because Zaya's gonna self-ult herself and dodge everything. So yeah, this game got really difficult really early for Happy Jellyfish.
Yeah, as the split progresses, we're kind of seeing the Vi suffer a bit. Like I think she's a champion. I've talked about it a lot before, where like she is really really good if she's got really great targets to all. If she's um, got a great team to follow up with, I think the follow up is good here. I think the problem is when you don't have great alt targets. I think you're looking like basically you want to alt Lee Sin, Zoe, or Maokai this game, but do you really want to alt Maokai? You know what I mean? Like, do you really want to make that your target? I think in terms of like try to blow up the support as quick as possible? Yes, you do. But if you don't, which I know I saw a fight where they tried it and it didn't work and he got off all of his CC afterwards, then it becomes an issue because you blew your load on the damn support, right? Um, so it's just one of those situations where I don't know if Vi maybe is starting to fall out of meta, like, or not even fall out of meta. She's just kind of maybe not as good as she was anymore, or what, but it's very interesting to me because I've seen a couple games this week where Vi just kind of struggled as a champ.
I think Vi overall just she's not a big generalist like jungler that I think some people play her as. Like you can't just pick Vi and just get the same amount of value out of her. There is comps that you don't want to play Vi into. Even if the ADC is a spicy immobile target, if you're dealing with double enchanters or the rest of your team can't dive through the front line, your Vi just kind of ults somebody, looks funny because they didn't do any damage through a Lulu shield or whatever, and then she just gets blown up. So it's this was definitely not a, the best spot for Vi. I mean the Vi Ari combo is a prominent combo, but it's just really hard. especially when a lot of times the Vancouver team felt like they were the first ones to make a move with Malphite Ult or Zoe Bubbles.
Yeah, it's definitely not easy. And I think I watched some of this game. I was looking back. I'm like, I remember some of this game. This looked familiar. I think I watched it last night. Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, there's only so much you can do as a team. Sometimes you just end up in a situation where the drafts are for really solid from the enemy team, and then your star mid laner goes on and has a performance. You know, he has a performance. That's all I will say. No, I think Rurika deserves flame. I think Rurika played like honestly very bad in this first game, and I don't think he'll disagree.
Yeah.
And I know he knows that it's all the love that I'm saying this, and I'm sure he'll be back and playing much better next week. Uh, but yeah, it just sometimes you're just not on. It's not your night, and when that happens, you can cost your team a game. And I think he definitely takes a good chunk of the blame here. But it is still a team game, and Vancouver played as a team better in this first game than Happy Jellyfish did, for sure.
Yeah, without a doubt.
But I'll let you jump into game two, where
Game two,
Happy Jellyfish got their get back.
yeah, game two felt like a redemption game after this game one because Happy Jellyfish got a lot of the champions that they want to get. They're comfortable. All the solo laners can play for themselves, and the game can run through them a lot better with Aurora and Silas. I mean, everybody knows that Rurika's like one of the Silas gods in the league. He's just absolutely insane on this champion. But yeah, they got off to a hot start. You know, they had 4 kills by the 8 minute mark, and even then got a few extra kills off the grub fight, and it just it just was a complete snowball from there. So yeah, Rurika, Dippy show, then Nevis end up getting a boatload of kills as well. It just all in all, this was a complete 180 compared to game one for Happy Jellyfish here.
Yeah, it didn't look as close by no means, in compared to the first game, which I think was really tight. Um, Kindred here, being picked up again. And I know I've said a lot about Kindred last week. She kind of popped up a bunch. And we saw her some in Group A. But I feel like I mean, who was it Group B? I don't. Whatever. The point is, we've seen some already, right, this week. Um, I still feel like maybe she's not in as strong of a spot as people think she is, based on how many people are playing her right now. Um, and into Wukong, like in theory, it should be pretty good. But then I look at the fact that they have a Silas, and I go, oh shit, you know, because now it's
Yeah,
like you can take your own Kindred R if you need, and the little engage they have on the side of Vancouver is also negated. So who wins out in that long trade? I feel like it's probably going to be Happy Jellyfish because they have the Renata, right? They have long range, and they have a really great burst setup between uh, the Aurora, the Wukong, and the Silas. So they will get you low, especially your carries. So, and I don't think either of those carries, honestly, on besides Kindred, really want to see anything in their face. So I'm really not surprised at the outcome of the game. I think the draft just kind of was really good by Happy Jellyfish.
yeah, this is definitely a draft that they're comfortable pulling off. You know, this two-prong solo lane attack. You know, no, not really much tank or slow-paced champions out of them. They want to get their advantages early and snowball off that. So
Was there
we'll move over to game
anything
three.
you want to move on to game? Okay, we can move on to game three.
Yeah.
All
Sorry.
right, no, you're good. Well, then tell me about game three, because I
Uh,
will say one thing. That championship, or not the championship, the champ lake up there was getting a little bit distorted. I will say. Uh,
yeah, yeah. Dippy, you know, I think he's the only person to pull out Kennen in the league so far, and I'm not gonna lie. What's it, Cyros? I think is how I pronounce it. Chiros, he clapped back on this Vladimir. Like that was a fun battle to watch, but this Vladimir definitely got the best of it in lane. Don't worry, Dippy got him back in some team fights here. So this was kind of a back and forth brawl a little bit, uh, until there was a few team fights where Dippy had a really insane engage. There's one at like 11 minutes where he forced Stunner to flash away after a dragon take, and I know there was another one where I think he got a triple kill in here, but yeah, this was sorry. This was a pretty even game for the most part. Happy Jellyfish got the first two Drakes, which I think they're gonna feel really good about that, considering they've got the kind of the late game on Rise here. And once Rise got to his core items, MLAC, there was not much he could do in the side lane against Farika here. And then it just went from there. I will commend though the Pantheon and Alistar, Marcuti, and Terrace. Uh, they really, when it came to team fights, they locked down and marked this Vlad quite heavily.
Yeah, I do recall seeing that a lot. I mean, they were all definitely on top of them. But I
Mhm.
like what Vancouver kind of presented here as well. The punish on Dippy multiple times in the top lane was very, very good, especially there in the mid game. Um, the overall like team fights were a little scattered, but I do remember Vancouver doing something that I thought was a bit troll. I'm not gonna lie. Like I think they got Baron and then just basically sprinted the Baron after they got it. Let me see if I can find it.
I do remember something like that happening where they got Baron and then got aced.
Okay, yeah. So if you go back to 25 minutes and about 50 seconds, they get the Baron. They did lose a member or two during the fight. I don't remember. I think it might have just been one during the Baron fight, but they overall won the fight cleanly. And then they pushed MF out, and the Alistar both had to well, no, just MF reset, but Alistar was chilling in the turret. I'm thinking to myself, all right, you guys got this Baron. You haven't reset. I think Lucian respawned is what it was. He was one of them that died. Using the Baron to hit the turret is fine, but then trying to dive the Alistar just seems so insanely crazy to me. And then Davis just comes in and cleans everybody up. I was like, this was troll. Like if you guys literally do nothing except set up the proper siege with your five members, maybe like a 4-1 or even a 1-3-1 depending. I mean, I don't think they could have done a 1-3-1, but a 4-1 was definitely on the table. I think you guys get so much gold off the map and extend your lead by a couple K. I mean, you might go from like a 2K lead to probably a 3 or 4K lead. And then that sets them up to get the next Drake, probably secure themselves another Baron, maybe even just because they're going to have such a big advantage. And I was like, damn, yeah, they just kind of threw the game right there.
Yeah, agreed. It felt like they had some momentum in their favor, and then, as you said, they kind of just sprinted it.
Yeah, they're like, hey, Alistar, kill him. My cutie made himself look shiny and cool.
Yeah.
So, what I will say though is Vancouver looks like a hell of a team, and I
Hmm.
kind of I kind of thought that I'll split already, but they proved themselves, nearly knocking off a team that I'm sure is up there in people's minds as a top contender. So really excellent from them. And man, this group again, another group that just looks so stacked. It's almost like every group sounds stacked, but I do think there is a group that isn't, and we're gonna get to it shortly. So with that said, let's jump into the next game of this group, which was um, the Froggy style versus Boppa Twisted Gate. So this one I know neither of us casted. Our boy um, Nexus also got this one. Thank you again, my friend. Um, it's not up on the YouTube quite yet, but it will be. So for right now, we're just gonna have to go back to his Twitch and peek at it. What's your take on this game, personally?
Um, Kind of looking at game one, I didn't get a chance to really check out much of this game. I know Bob and Twisted, I think, made a small lineup change. Uh, with One Trick Susan going top lane, which I believe he was the support the first couple weeks here.
Yep.
Um, so I know they were they were definitely probably going to have a small little bump in the log on their progress here, but Froggy Style, I mean they're looking pretty strong right now. Uh, it looks like Hero had himself a really solid game going 11-1, but then the rest of the teams, I mean, we see Casio going 6-0, Fuse going 4-1 on this Aurora. Um, it looked like it was just a really, really solid sound game played by Froggy Style, and it was only a 24-minute game, so a fairly swift and quick victory here by
Yeah,
Froggy Style.
I mean, Froggy Style looks very excellent. They showed themselves in week two in that back to back how decent of a team they are, but here proving once again that like they're formidable. They might have joined last second, but they're serious. Baba Twisted obviously as a team that's been struggling to split a bit, so we have to give some grace there to them. Um, but then on the flip side, I mean, you still got to give a lot of credit to Froggy Style for just continuing to show up and play outstanding league. Hero had one hell of a game from what I saw on this Kaisa, really just dominating um, the map there. Bananasaur, our friend from Scorch here now, jungling, took care of business there. It wasn't anything crazy, but I do like seeing some Sejuani, a very stable pick. We saw it some this week already. She's very tanky. She sets up the team well, and I think when you have a Cassiopeia Aurora on a Kaisa, you want beefy stuff in front. So I think the comp they drafted was excellent, and then you have your hard engage with Alistair here, being played by a Hook in the support role. So
Mhm.
I think that was really solid there. I do think Baba Twisted though did not look bad in this game. I mean, looking at the scores, like it really didn't break open until like later on in the game. So they definitely put up a fight. I'm kind of watching back some of the game, trying to see if there's anything that kind of sticks out to me. I don't know if you kind of caught anything.
I did not really catch much of this game, so I will defer to you on that regard.
Well, I didn't either. That's why I was asking you. I meant like if you were watching the clip started. I didn't know if you saw anything.
Um,
CLT is not watching the clip right now. He does not care, ladies and gentlemen. CLT, you are fired. Get out. I'm just kidding. I
oh,
do have a question though, CLT.
yeah.
What do you think about Mundo here? Like, do you think Mundo should have success? Because I feel like he should, right? Like, he should be really strong here.
Um, I feel like if the game is slow enough, then yeah, Mundo should have success. I know Aurora naturally loves to push in waves and like roam around and really be like a big disruptor in team fights. And typically Mundo does well into double AP solo lane comps. I think my biggest thing with Mundo here is you got to put some resources into protecting him if he's against a champion that loves to keep the pace going, like an Aurora. So I'm not sure if he pairs well with Viego or if Viego's high tempo enough
Hmm.
to like help out. Because it's either opposites attract or you double down on strengths for me when it comes to like jungle solo lane duos. So, I'd be curious to watch more of this game and just see if this Aurora kept him down in lane, but I feel like once he gets to like Spirit Visage, this is going to be really hard to deal with this Mundo. But I see Cassio look like she got a fairly early lead as well. And I noticed this week on some of the Aries that we're seeing, no Roa build on Ari.
That's good. Get that crap
So
out of here. We don't want
I
to see it.
didn't I didn't think it was great to begin with. Hot take.
Oh, well, there it
Like
is.
it's too slow.
Well, give me your hot take on the goddamn Teemo Jungle. Give me your hot take on that, buddy.
Oh my God, really? Let me guess,
Bananasaur, Bananasaur giving you some spicy content, sir.
uh it's not in the worst spot. Like you have to walk at them as the Bop It Twisted comp. So Teemo Jungle has value here. I'd be curious. Let me go back and see if I can catch out when it was drafted. It was drafted they B1 Teemo. Oh my goodness.
The
Well, that's cojones.
the disrespect.
Um,
The disrespect.
yeah, they B1 Teemo, and I'm not. I don't. know the ins and outs of the matchup, but then they pick Cassante, and I feel like Teemo's okay with that matchup, even
Yeah,
if they
you know
thought
something
Teemo
that
was.
that he struggles against, but it was already picked is Sejuani. It used to be a really solid Teemo counter up in the top lane. I played it even when I would go top lane. It's so funny. It still is.
Yeah,
It still crushes him.
yeah, Teemo jungle. Okay, that's not something that was on my bucket list for
Of
today.
all the funny stuff he's seen this week, he didn't know there was Teemo jungle, man. There's always
No,
surprises from you guys. Thank you guys so much for your
Ye-
lovely
ye-
surprises.
yeah, there was a lot of things not on the bingo card this week that showed up. I mean, referencing the three straight games of Roa from Cal Poly, but um yeah, Teemo Jungle, like looking at it comp for comp, I think it's actually picked in a really good spot.
And he had a
Like
good
even though
performance on it too. He didn't even die,
yeah.
so excuse me, very clean. Um, with that said, back-to-back games for Hero though are freaking insane as well. So you could say
Yeah,
that Froggy Style needed a hero and it showed up.
yeah. That was what's that? 22 2 and 16 across two games. Mm,
Yeah, it's
that's pretty good.
pretty clean, pretty clean.
Even though we've seen a Varus go 18 and 0 earlier
Yeah,
in
yeah.
the.
I mean the 18 is still better, but I mean, come on. I mean these AD carries have been popping off all split, so they're representing for the ADC role. But
For
yeah, I
sure.
mean, with that said, I think we'll let this game be. Um, congrats to Frogger Style. You performed really, really well, and hopefully, Bapa Twisted Gankit is able to find themselves a victory here in Week 4, and keep themselves in the playoff race. But yeah, really dominating performance with the ended around like 21, 22 minutes, kind of insane. So definitely good on them.
Mhm.
But all right, we'll finish out the Group C with a Scorch versus five Big Booms, and an outcome that I didn't predict by no means, but another very, very slow paced game. So go ahead and throw it at us here on what happened.
Wait, you didn't predict this? I'm telling Rusty.
I mean, I didn't really make predictions, but I don't think anyone predicted this specific way the game went. I mean, 12-6
Uh,
from these two
yeah,
teams
I
seems
was.
interesting to me.
Yeah, I was super just excited to see this game just because I know Five Big Booms had a really good first impression and they looked like a really strong team. But Scorch, after their week one, as we've noted, last week, they they look like they improved. So I wanted to see if they continued this. Getting into the draft a little bit, we seen they left Calico Zillion up, and I think they picked a really solid like lane into it. The Braum Misfortune, even though Zillion doesn't like the ult saves him from Misfortune ult, and you know, it ends up letting Misfortune blow the cooldowns so they can revive. I don't think they were considering that this Zillion was going to go mid. So we did see Boonstra take a stab at this Zillion, and likewise, Salt kind of used this last pick to play something into this short range comp in the form of a Nivea. So both teams throwing a little bit of wrinkles at the draft here, uh, which was quite interesting. I do think this is a really solid uh, spot for Anivia. She really typically does well in the Vlad. And Xin Zhao, while he can get on top of her, she can stun and walk away and wall before he can get the knock up. So the thing with Anivia is there wasn't many disruptions to stop her from doing what she wanted to do. But I also like this Shen pick, which I know Ares has been one of the most standout top laners we've seen the last couple splits, but I gotta give it up to Sleepy. I mean, he played really well into Ares overall, and I do like this kind of Shen delivery system with Wukong as well. So this was a pretty back and forth game to start off with, um, but eventually Mustafa on the Sivir just scaled up and started outputting a boatload of damage, and then Ares also was doing really well of like pulling Braum ults and Shen taunts to not get CC'd and become pretty uncontrollable in this backline.
Yeah, I think Wukong's picked here in a pretty good spot. In the Jin Zhao, it can be um, pretty hard. I think uh, like when I say hard, more hard for like allowing the team to pile on if Jin Zhao uses ulti well, right? But I think into the match, specific the 1v1 of the whole aspect of it, that's a really good matchup for Wukong. Um, but the team comp they drafted with the MF Braum, I feel like my only complaint is I don't really want Braum there. I feel like MF is so much better with a true engaged support. And when you look at Karma and Sivir, man, I'm gonna bring it up again, but let me double check make sure it's not banned before I say anything. Okay. Where's my Alistar? Give me Alistar in the bot lane, bro. Alistar with MF is so good. Or even Leona. But like it's just that Alistar is really, really good in the Sivir. I feel like that's like a prime Sivir counter right there. Um, and then on the flip side, yeah, I mean, if you don't win early enough in this game, you're gonna get outscaled. I think because it's just like even if you kill somebody, hello Zillion, I have my ulti for a major for my Sivir or for my Vlad to just clean up fights and do tons of work. So definitely hard for them to win this game on both sides. To be honest, I don't think it was free for either team, and I think that's why you saw such a low kill game from both sides. Was there anything to that like broke open the game to you?
Um, Trying to remember because I casted quite a few games. Um, there was a really big fight here. Is this a game-ending fight? Yeah, this is a game-ending fight here in the bot lane. Um, where like it was really hard for get to get on top of Mustafa. And while I think Shanti had a really good ult, it just wasn't enough damage. And Mustafa just came off from the side, got a triple kill. I think he even got this quadra kill on the Shen. Yeah, got the quadra kill, and then they just ended through the top wave that was already on the base here. So it was a pretty explosive ending to this game at about the 26.5 minute mark.
Yeah, but before that, they even got themselves a nice gold lead on the side of Scorch. I mean, they 24, 20, 23, 24 minutes, they had bumped it up to almost 5K. I mean, the Otacon really seemed like it broke the game open, like hard, because Scorch was able to get back in the game and kind of get some levels back in a close game. And then yeah, I'm going to look at that fight now, the one you're talking about. 26 minutes, you said? Right? Right, CLT? Did I lose you?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Just sorry, yeah, I did lag out there for a hot second.
26 minutes or 27 minutes? I'm trying to find it. Okay, here it is. I'm assuming they jump onto the Shen first. Oh man, nice double bomb, dude. Oh my goodness. So insane. And then Silver just gets to rain down fire for free. Yeah, I mean that's just a really, really, really nice play there out of uh out of Scorch there at the end.
Mhm.
So well, it was a good game one. Very tight. So how did game two go? Give me the breakdown in game two, which does seem to be still pretty close. 36-minute game, so looks like it went a while. Rusted Crow pulling out the old Trundle counter into Sejuani, but Sejuani still had a game, so that's kind of crazy. So what uh what happened here in this game two?
Game two was pretty back and forth. I had a feeling, knowing how creative Scorch gets at this B1 Seraphine could potentially go support bot or even mid. We've seen Boomstrip play the Seraphine before. So I thought the Mel pick though was super clutch in the Seraphine. Salt by default had a insane game here. I think he deflected like four different Seraphine ults. And I thought this was the draft that Five Big Booms wanted. You got Ares, who's been, like I said, a really solid top laner these last couple splits on a tank, and the Sion Malphite matchup, which is actually the second time we've seen this matchup this
Yeah.
week. Um, So I felt like draft wise, this is what Five Big Booms wanted. They wanted the one of the playmakers for Scorch to be on a not a low impact champion, but on a tank like Malphite. But uh, they wanted to kind of isolate this mid 1v1 because Salt is still a really fantastic mid laner. But Boonstra um, held up his own here too. He did everything that his team wanted him to do, and the double enchanters plus Aphelios and Trundle, once they got scaled up, really made it difficult. Well, now with that being said, like I said, Five Big Booms team fought so well this game that was to me the key that kept them in this game. But these teams kind of both went back and forth this whole game.
Yeah, I mean,
So
Seraphine and the Mel seems like it could be decent, but at the same time, Mel has a lot of counterplay for a couple of abilities, right? So I could see the Seraphine struggling a bit. I'm really wondering why we're seeing Malphite Scion matchup. Like, what's going on here? Is Malphite good in the Scion, or are we just like, do we just want to tank for tank it when you see a Scion? Like, I just don't understand
Uh,
that.
yeah, I think when I talked to Rusty afterwards that Ares wanted this tank matchup. Like if he knew tank was going to help him play the game, but he wanted like a high impact tank so that the Malphite ult was really good. And traditionally, I think Scion's actually really good in the Malphite. Malphite struggles against other tanks for the most part. Uh, but yeah, no, I think the key thing about this Mel Seraphine matchup is you got to surround Seraphine with other high impact Rs. So Mel has to pick what she didn't deflect. And in this game, Mel just held W until Seraphine pressed R, and there was nothing really threatening her uh, to use it. You know, Aphelios kind of wants things to walk into him, and Mel wants things to walk into her. So it was kind of a battle of those two dichotomies in the team fights.
Yeah, those two.
But
Yeah, it's very interesting. But Aphelios kind of seems like a big factor here too. We don't see a lot of Aphelios. When we do, it tends to lose. We saw it for fun in week one. I think it won, right? Um, so seeing it here and getting a victory, I could see though with a Lulu, and Lulu's really good to engage now more than ever. Um, man, like I could see it having a lot of success here, and just being able to just do pretty much what it wants. It's got double. It's got two tanks, right? It's got two enchanters. Here you go, Aphelios. This is your game to shine. If you don't pop off, you're trolling. You know,
yeah,
which
that's what
he's
I
one three
think
and
it.
one. He's 1-3-1 at 18 minutes. He's trolling.
Well, I just think he needed time to scale,
Yeah,
and uh, once they scaled up, especially the enchanters, then I know they put Rusty behind quite a bit, but Rusty, once he got onto an even playing field with some of these tanks, he was an absolute menace in these team fights with the enchanters as well. They just didn't have enough access to this Aphelios. So like Aphelios just drew a bigger line in the sand than what like Mel and Caitlyn could do. Um, and also like the back line for Five Big Booms was getting way more threatened with Trundle, Malphite. So it was a sneaky good draft by Scorch, and I think both teams really showcased their talent in this game, but Scorch ends up coming up with the win.
yeah. Seraphine at like 29 minutes had this disgusting ult that turned a fight. Looked like in favor of Five Big Booms.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, I mean
Yeah, Boone.
this game it seems pretty insane. Sucks that I didn't get to catch it.
Yeah, Boonstra got really smart here in this last like team fight or two of just not pulling the trigger immediately on the Seraphine ult because after he got it deflected back, I think there was one top lane fight where it got deflected back and Salt ended up ulting like four different people. So, but also like Scion versus Trundle, not really fun for the Scion. We've seen a few times where Trundle just puts the pillar up in front of the Scion ult and it's just no effective at all.
Yeah. Oh my goodness, Rusty had a pillar where he stopped Cyan jumping over
Yeah,
using the plant. Yeah, that looks doesn't look very fun for Cyan to be in this game. I definitely agree.
yeah.
So, But yeah, congratulations to Scorch. I won't say anything, but power rankings, you might enjoy what you see. So let's jump into the last group, shall we? Which starts out with another banger three-game series. Prime versus Small Brain No Mechanics. Did you catch any of this series, CLT? Did you catch game
I
one?
caught very little of this. So what was this?
Well,
Um,
I think your pick on the series of the week was incorrect. I think this is the series of the week, and I'm not saying that because it was my series. I actually think it was a really great series to play, and I think it for a fan base very good to watch because I think it had really good League of Legends from both teams. Um, Mistakes still happen, and what I think was perfect, but you didn't have any weird Capachungus, Cal Poly builds or anything like that. You just had two really solid teams fighting out to be at near the top of the group. And unfortunately, my team did not end up winning the series, but I'm happy with the overall performance. But I do think we definitely could have played better in order to win. But we'll just start in game one. Yeah, so game one, dude, the game one was nuts. Like I think it was like a 40. I was 41 minutes. I mean, a lot of trading back and forth. You know, the big thing about this game was we were like, it felt like we were so far ahead throughout the game, but we never really were. It was always really tight, and at one point they even got themselves a lead. Um, and so it felt really strange to play in that aspect, but Zema popping off on the Kali, nothing really new there. Um, I think it's my first Zinzao of the split, and I enjoyed playing him. I thought he was in a really good spot here, especially into the Bel'Vath. I think it's good in the Bel'Vath, especially early on. I mean, he's gonna outscale me, but like it's a good in that situation. Uh, we played into an Anivia, Tristana as like the main carries. And Big B, Big B was having some fun in this game. A couple different times where he kind of just jumped into the whole team, and even if he didn't die, he was burning a flash just to live. So he was on the a bit of a mission. I'm not sure what that mission was. Mission Impossible maybe. Um, but it definitely was a back and forth game. I mean, it featured a lot of like lead changes in a sense. They were up in gold at one point, then we were up in gold, and it was very back and forth. Um, I'm trying to remember like I know there was a couple fights that really changed the output of the game. I want to say the first one was maybe a Herald fight. Let me go back and look here because it was really close, and then we fought over Herald, and I felt like we. No, maybe it wasn't. No, it wasn't a Herald fight. That was a different game then. It was for them. That was the Herald fight. But I'm kind of scrolling through trying to remember because it's been a couple days since we played, and a lot has happened in other matches. While I'm looking for things, what's your kind of first takeaway from looking at the game?
um, First takeaway actually kind of starts in the draft. I really like Belveth with Anivia, and I think Belveth was actually picked in a really good spot here since specifically your top side of the map, but your whole team comp is fairly low ranged. So there's definitely a lot of value out of Belveth E. I do think Zinzao is a decent answer into it. You just press the R and you kind of knock her out of the E channel there. Um, but I really think that it stands out as like a pick in a really good spot. And going from there, I don't know if your comp really has not necessarily access because it does, but like the natural beefiness on the side of Prime's comp, I think becomes difficult for you guys to deal with. Um, in a sense of like you guys just get outscaled, but you have no way of like pushing an advantage. If you're like sieging here, I didn't exactly watch 100% of the game, but I see you guys got Baron, so I'm kind of curious what happens after that because you guys definitely need Baron to really open this game up against something like a Nivea.
Um, yeah, I can. You can kind of go look at it. I didn't even realize at one point we were down like 5K, 6K. It didn't feel that way either. Like this game was so strange to me. Like the way it felt. I didn't feel like we were ever that far behind, but then looking at it, you kind of forget you kind of were behind a bit. Um, but yeah, so the Baron fight, if you go back and you look at that specifically, we get a really nice play where we're able to take out the Anivia first, and then kind of baited them in. I pushed out the Tristana. She couldn't really do anything, and then we just got the Baron, and it was really not contested because they were really low on their side. And I think we just started kind of breaking open turrets. Honestly, at that point, we just focused on getting gold back for ourselves on the map since we knew that's what we needed.
Oh, that was a nasty Renata all to 32 minutes.
Yeah, there was a couple that were pretty insane. The game came down to a soul fight too. Like we had a soul fight at the very end. Um, if you want to watch that, which is basically at like 39 minutes. So
Okay, let me check this out real quick.
yeah,
Yeah, unfortunately, this was one of the series that like
39:45. It's when
I
this
could
is
not.
when the we start positioning around it. Yeah, I mean you
Yeah.
missed out on a fucking hype one, dude. I'm telling you, if you go back and watch it, it was a freaking crazy ass series. There was nothing where like I'm sure like the game kind of ended abruptly in game two, and we'll kind of talk about that. But even game two had some really fun moments, and the game for a bit was close and really tightly contested as well. Um,
Hmm. Yeah, you end
so
up stealing the soul here. That's pretty clutch.
yeah, we steal the soul as a team, and then we were able to get in there on top of the Anivia and kind of take her out as well, and not let her just use her ulti for free. And yeah, I mean that's pretty much how the game ends. It was a really really great game though. I really enjoyed it. Everybody performed really well. Seabass here on the Renata was very excellent. And like I said, Zema had a really really great game. So nobody really like didn't perform well. I mean, if you look across the board, we were all like 24, 22, 20% so the damage. Like everybody had similar damage. Not something you're used to seeing from my team. So,
Yeah,
but
I
yeah,
see. I
yeah,
got the egg TPing away from you.
yeah.
That always cracks me up.
We got it. We got her in the egg though, and then we just flashed on her in the base and we killed her. Game two though, man. Game two is one we're gonna look back on for some time, and just kind of realize we kind of messed up. And I don't particularly feel like I had my best performance in this game personally, and I do think as a team we did make some key errors, all of us. Um, but specifically, we started off pretty strong in the game. I think the game was going well. Zema had an early lead. He was able to transition to that into getting me a small lead. Bot lane, I even think won a 2v2 fight early on. Uh, well, yeah, actually no. So Zema came down. It wasn't a 2v2. I forgot Zema came down. So yeah, like everything was kind of going well. Zema was exploiting the map, and we were finding really good moments. But then we had a Herald fight, and so everyone was really confused, I guess, in the chat like what was going on in Herald. But around 15:55, you're gonna see a solo kill here by Zema onto Espoda, and then you're gonna see a fight here at the Herald that just goes completely wrong. There's a bit of a miscommunication there. We kind of messed up, but the biggest thing was so in that banana bush, I guess you can ward it at a certain point, and if you're standing in a certain spot, you won't see it warded. So Xerastia did not see the ward. Like he literally just didn't see the ward because he was standing in the bush, but he was standing on the other side, and it just based on the pixels, you couldn't catch it. But this is kind of what started to slowly creep them back into the
Oh,
game. Yeah, because we had like about 1,000 k gold lead, and if that fight goes proper, we get Baron, we get feats, everything goes well. Like we're in a great spot to win this game. And hats off to them. They found a great fight. I know Big B says like he feels like when we're talking to him, he doesn't feel like Braum is a counter into MF. I still hard disagree. If you look at that wall during that fight, it was aimed the complete wrong direction. Kind of makes you wonder if it's aimed the right direction if the fight goes better too. But yeah, I mean, it just that kind of started the snowball a bit, and then we made a couple more errors. We kind of started chasing like monkeys, and the game just kind of fell apart from there. Around like the 20-minute mark, we just started just kind of chain inting basically the game. I got caught once when I shouldn't have got caught, and then the game just freaking abruptly ended. So like it was a good game up to that basically that point. Like I don't think it was like not close, but sometimes you end up in a bad spot because you make a couple mistakes, a couple errors, and um, and that's all they wrote, you know. So I don't think it's anything we should feel too bad about. I think we performed well enough to win. We just did not win because they outperformed us in the end. We made too many key errors. So hats off to Prime for this game.
Yeah. I do got a little bit of a small question, not to start like a big deep discussion, but this Olaf pick here, what was the kind of theory behind that? I guess see when you guys pick it just to get a little more context, but like
Um, I mean, it's just to pick specifically in an R. I think in hindsight we shouldn't have picked it though. I think it's not the greatest with J4. Though I don't think we had too many synergistic issues on that. It's just not like great there. I think our draft had a couple errors for sure, but for the most part, it still was a decent draft. I think the bot side was fine. I think the J4 pick is not bad. I think I would have liked to pick something different, honestly, but like it was fine overall. Um, but yeah, I think the Olaf pick was probably not the angle there. Honestly, I think something like a Malphite would have been really really good in this game.
I would have tend to agreed, yeah. Like he can play a more reactionary ult like style to where, when you pull the trigger, he can follow up a little bit more.
Yeah,
Because that's what I'm seeing in a lot of these fights I'm kind of skimming through is like Olaf is coming in just like a second too late off of an engage, and it's just really difficult.
yeah. Olaf probably needed like the Karma or the Seraphine or something just to speed him up a bit.
Hmm.
Um, Lulu or something like that. Otherwise, our comp kind of falls flat. We just kind of get outscaled at that point if we don't win early like we were, right? We were winning early and then we put ourselves in a hole. So,
Hmm.
but yeah, we can jump into game three. Game three was like very very close, like pretty much the whole game. Uh, Regardless of what like the score lines say, like it was a close game. But I do wish I didn't troll the game because I feel like I did. Um, I made a bit of an error trying to go for a Gromp like I shouldn't have, and then kind of fucked the game. It felt like. And Phoenix Flare had a really really nice performance here on this Pantheon. I mean he was all over the map doing his thing after like the early game. The early game he's kind of just farming, chilling out. But once he got to the point where he felt comfortable, he was on the map and he was doing a lot of work. I think little chunky buggy also had a nice series, by the way, but specifically this Oriana was like finding Vayne all game. Like Mono was having a hard time playing the game. Um, our draft I think was decent, but I do think looking back, maybe the Vayne pick doesn't really work specifically with our draft. I think something else would have been better at that spot, or we just build a better comp around Vayne. Like that's basically it. Um, but yeah, hats off to Prime. I mean, they played this game really really well, and it was just very close back and forth. We focused top lane heavily in this game, but we weren't able to get Vic far enough ahead to um, to be able to do as much work as you would have liked. So yeah, you got anything to say about this game?
No, I kind of overall agree, especially with the point of the Vayne pick. I know it's kind of a mono special, and he's absolutely cracked at it, but the draft around it, I think, makes it really difficult for Vayne to play. Um, there's just not enough protection for her. Uh, but overall, I also feel like Nocturne doesn't have the easiest game. It's not that he has like an absolute difficult, unplayable game, but it's definitely not like a super easy game. Uh,
Yeah, I
especially
mean, it
knowing,
was B1, so I definitely when I got into it and I was like, yeah, this game's gonna be hard for me. I kind of told everybody. So our thing was to focus top lane because it was kind of easy to do so. Not that I couldn't go and kill Big B early, but we didn't have like really anything to get in there early for like an early Nocturne gank to work. Whereas Camille kind of works nicely for that. I can just walk up and get the fear um, off the E. But
yeah.
you know, like I said, I didn't feel like I performed well enough in these two games, but specifically this one, just because I feel like I didn't do enough damage. I didn't do enough work. and I couldn't find enough spots in the game. And yeah, some of that was I didn't have many targets to go on. But Zema tried his best to carry us through this game, but it just wasn't enough either. And sometimes that's just how it goes. I think we had like a really really nice play towards the top lane. I think where they picked off a Rumble around the time of Otacon spawn. So it was like right on top of Otacon spawn. They picked off the Rumble. It was Camille and Aurora, and I'm like, okay, we just go Otacon here, and there's a bit of a miscommunication, and we end up TPing bot with the Aurora, and I think as well as we all played at times, and as good as Emma was, I don't think that was the angle. I think we just have to go Otacon because we're trying to break open the game. Our comp needs that. Like once again, I think we drafted a comp similar to game two, where we just need to make this game hard for them to play because it's already hard for us to play. And I think Otacon would have been that answer. To
Agreed.
So we didn't end up getting the Otacon at that moment. I did end up stealing it later in the game, but it just didn't matter. Like it was irrelevant. They had gotten Soul, and it was just freaking honestly impossible to play at that point for what our comp wanted to do. So hats off to Prime. I think they played an excellent series. They showed up to play. We finally got the Big B Mono matchup, and I think both of them played really well against each other. Um, but yeah, hopefully we get to see them again. In the meantime, we're 2-1. They're 3-0, and that's all she wrote.
Hmm.
So, yeah, we could jump into the next one, which is not TOT versus Lucky Cats. Lucky Cats forfeited. I'm not even gonna break down how much I don't like forfeiting. We all know I don't like it. Please don't forfeit. Like, whether you're mentally boomed or not, like, just try to play it out, guys. Like, you gain nothing from forfeiting, but you can gain a lot from playing and trying to learn and become better as a team, especially if this is something you want to do moving forward. Unfortunately, in sports, there's going to be teams that are going to lose more than they're going to win. It's just part of the process. Um, and I'm sorry to any team that is going through that right now. But you need to be like, a little bit of a. I don't want to use the word professional about it because this is not our profession, but it kind of is the term here, okay? Be a consummate professional. Be more like my GOAT CLT, who,
Mm.
no matter what, comes out, plays his games, regardless of the outcome. And this is more hats off to him as a person. I think he's a wonderful individual, and I'm giving you lots of praise because I think you deserve it. You do so much for this league, and you had a hard split last split, and you're back having another hard split, and you're still putting everything you can into every series. And that, my friend, is fucking commendable. Part of my French. So we will jump into that series real quick, and I will just let you break it down, and then we can get to the power rankings.
Oh God, do I have to?
We always have to. I had to break down my loss too, buddy. We got to do what we got to do.
All right, that's fair. That's fair. So yeah, prepping against Hidden Leaf, we knew that this team was super, super strong, and we definitely wanted to get a lot of comfort picks in our hands this game one. So War Initiate being a former top laner, he loves his Urgot, so picked that. We did have Calico subbing for us down in the support role, so she got her Zillion, I got my Anivia, and honestly, we were pretty happy after the first three on the draft. Cluzon loves Misfortune, and it looked like we had enough to kind of protect the Misfortune. So they ended up drafting Sona Kindred, which looking back at it, I think was actually pretty goated 4-5 there, because we're just not going forward enough, and Sona can kind of scale for free, her being like one of the few scaling supports. I think where we messed up and kind of what started this game off on the back foot here was this Kayn pick. Uh, they definitely targeted this Kayn a lot in the draft, and we didn't build up enough strong lanes around to protect this Kayn. Uh, Generally, Kayn is not a great buddy with Anivia, and when we gave up first blood, Senju got level 2 off the first wave, so I'm already put on the back foot here before I can even get to like level 6 and start to really dictate wave states here. So it ended up becoming we put ourselves kind of in a hole here on this first game, and boy did it show because we got stomped from the word go. It was a really rough game. Hats off to Soup at the end of the game while the Nexus was exploding. He finally got his form, so that was a rough one there. Uh, but yeah, there's not really much else to say outside of we just got stomped here. We've got a really bad tendency of just losing game ones super hard. Uh, yeah. Yeah, game two. I think we built a much more cohesive comp here. Nautilus again. Anybody who's kind of been around here knows War plays Nautilus in basically any role. So he wanted to get on something comfort, and Soup really does love playing Viego. So I just really wanted to find something that could pair along with it. The Mel at R4 was a flex pick. Calico has been kind of working on some of the mage picks. Out of respect for them, not gonna divulge it, but like everybody knows that I love Mel as well. And it wasn't till R5 where we needed just something to have a go button, but still be able to like jump into Zyra and potentially lock someone down. And also, Lissandra's really good into Yone as well. But Lissandra is also one of Viego's like super best friends when it comes to mid lane, just because he doesn't have enough damage to one shot somebody, but her plus Viego overkills people, even when ahead a little bit. And then Lissandra passive slows everybody around down, which is what Viego needs. So Lissandra Viego, an absolute great combo, and we played it pretty well for the most part. We just didn't have really the firepower to kind of continue this game. Bot lane still struggled a little bit. They held up in lane, and Cluzon does have a pretty solid Ezreal. But Ezreal Mel, I don't think it was a lane he was kind of comfortable with. Um, but we had a few opportunities where we kind of shined. Um, I traded one for one against Hashira, and I think I even got a shutdown there, so it was kind of net worth for me a little bit. But um, yeah, all in all, this was a much better showing. Again, if we could just get off to a much cleaner start in game ones, I wouldn't think we would have such a big hole to dig out of. But definitely much happier with this game too. And actually, I talked to Hashirama a little bit afterwards, and he actually posted in the server about trying the Lissandra Viego comp because when he played against it, he's like, "That's actually really smart." And you know, traded some conversations back and forth on that. But those Hidden Leaf guys are super nice, so I gotta give props to them. They're gonna be a really tough team, and I think they're standing out in this Group D as like one of the top 3 teams here. Mhm. Spoiler! Yep, yep. Four, 6. Mm, rip.
Rip, yeah, Ripperoonies. I was talking for a bit about standings, and somehow I clicked something on my mouse. I don't know what I clicked or when I clicked it. Let's hope I didn't mess something up, guys. Because if I did, well, GG on this episode because I screwed it all over. Um, so, anyways, let's be let's be positive. Um, oh, we'll see. At least CLT will be talking. If I messed it up, I messed it up. Anyway, so here's here's the 6 games. I talked about freaking standings, and oh my god, I don't know what I clicked. Okay, let's just talk power rankings. Let's just do power rankings. If there's no talking for me, guys, just ignore my no talking. All right, so we've got Lucky Cat sitting here at 24, obviously because they forfeited. TLT at 23, they got a forfeit win. It's hard to put them like above anybody. Hatchet Men dropping all the way down to 22. I think they had really good showings in week 1 and 2, so I still think what they've done is slightly better than TLT. Papa Twisted Gankit did have a good week here in my opinion, so they're going to be here at 21. Actually went up a couple spots, and then Royal Rogues dropping down a spot to the 20th spot, and Capachungus Among Us will be at the number 19, right? So they went up 5 spots because I think they had a really, really, really nice performance here in week 3. I think it's pretty much self-explanatory across the board. None of these teams currently have a victory, so that kind of is also part of it. Let's go ahead and show the next 6.
Here we go.
All right. Awesome here. So our next 6 teams, we've got Forfeit at 20 at 18, Ninja Turrets at 17, Cal Poly at 16, 5 Big Booms at 15, UAFS at 14, and Impact Challengers at 13. Do you have any opinion on these 6?
No, I think Vancouver, UAFS, and Five Big Booms have kind of shown that they're in contention for playoffs, and they're playing really well against some of the top teams. Cal Poly just picking up their first win. Granted, it's against KCA. Still showed that they're playing good solid League of Legends. They're just in a really really tough group here. So we do see. I think Cal Poly plays UAFS here real soon in Group B, and Forfeit at 20 is also in that same group here. So this power rankings will start to kind of wean itself out as these teams start to play each other more and more. But for the most part, like these are the 5 that can make a push for that 3rd seed in a playoff.
Yeah, all 6 of these teams could make it. Ninja Turtles is the only one I think who's going to have the hardest struggle to do so, sitting at 0-3. But like, I think Ninja Turtles has played so well all split, and I mean, you see against Femboys, they obviously put up a fight. So this team is legit, and I think it's so sad if they don't even come close to making playoffs. That just seems depressing in my head. Um, but yeah, as far as the other ones, I mean, Cal Poly, they got their victory. It was against Capuchungus Among Us, um, but I think what they've shown on paper to me has been slightly better than Forfeit at 20. So we'll have to see. I mean, when these 2 teams play and whatnot. Um, 5 Big Booms, they've kind of let me down the last couple weeks after these losses they've had as far as what I thought they were potential is. So hopefully it was just a rough patch and they turn it around. UAFS had a nice showing against Vibe Check, but Vibe Check is one of the best teams in the league for a reason. They've got Bori and the boys. They've won multiple splits here. And then Vancouver Impact Challengers, I think, put up an excellent fight against Happy Jellyfish, and they deserve to move up 2 spots. So,
Yeah, and actually Vancouver plays 5 Big Booms this week, by the way.
ooh, so
So
that could be spicy. I mean, that potential, whoever wins that is going to be in the front runner spot to try to get that 3rd seed. So it's going to be pretty exciting for sure to see. But all right, let's go ahead and check out the next 6 then, CLT. All right, cool. So we've got Solus Endeavor Esports sitting at the number 12 spot. Scorch at 11, taking another good leap here, going up 3. And then we've got CoinFlip also moving up 3, sitting at the 10. Froggy Style just chilling out at the same location at the 9. Small Brains falling to the 8, dropping 3 spots. And Hidden Leaf jumping up 1 to the 7. So anything stick out to you here, CLT?
Not really. I do think having the top 3 teams right now for Group D up in this kind of like top 10, top 11 area uh, is really interesting. We're gonna see them start to play each other. Prime has Hidden Leaf this week, so that's gonna be a really big test for Hidden Leaf, and then um, you guys still have yet to play Hidden Leaf. I believe that's week 5 for you guys, so that's gonna really iron out some of this. But the 2 teams that really stand out to me are Coin Flip and Scorch. Like it's 2 teams that, for lack of a better words, had a pretty abysmal week 1, but then just like reminded the league who exactly they are in this week 2, week 3. So um, that's gonna be really, really interesting. The big matchup out of this kind of group of teams is Froggy Style versus Scorch. We got the Battle of the Brothers in the jungle here, so kind of gonna get hyped a little bit for that. Um, but yeah, no, I think even though you guys dropped down 3 spots, it's still a very respectable loss against one of the top teams in the league, and these teams are gonna be. If they keep improving, they're gonna battle the top 6 in the playoffs, and we're gonna see who's actually the better team here.
Yeah, I mean, I will say Scorch and CoinFlip have been a nice story as far as the league goes. Scorch obviously got a low power ranking on the week 1. They were probably a little upset about that, but they've proven their worth and they've rose up again, and I think they've earned their spot. And there's potential they could keep going up. I mean, there's always potential for that, right? So week 4 and 5 will tell that. Um, as far as Small Brains, Hidden Leaf, and actually, you could just show the next 6, I guess, right? Because I think Prime is sitting at 5, if I remember correctly. But yeah, kind of talking about that, what you mentioned, like they being like in the top 8, right? All 3 of these teams, they are going to canonize themselves, and we'll see what happens as they're gonna play each other. Obviously, Prime beat us, so we're gonna they're gonna play against Hidden Leaf now, and then we play Hidden Leaf. So we'll see how it shapes out. Um, but yeah, here we go. We've got Bucket John Betts still sitting at the number 6 spot. Prime moving all the way to the 5. Uh, Vibe Check at 4. Happy Jellyfish dropping down to the 3. Femboys now taking that 2 spot. And Instinct sitting at the 1. Instinct consistently now 3 weeks in a row at the 1. They're on pace to break CoinFlip's record. I think CoinFlip was in the 1 spot for 3 weeks as well. So one more week, they will have broken the record for longest at the top dog. Um, so that's going to be pretty interesting to see if that pans out. But anything kind of stick out to you here at the last 6?
Not really. I mean, I think these last 6 are like the definitive top of the groups, and we might have a little bit of cannibalizing here when they start to play each other. But for the most part, I think the thing that stands out in this upper part of the top 12 is, like all 3 teams from Group D that are at the top are really, really solid teams. They're pretty represented in here quite heavily. But yeah, Instinct, Femboys, Happy Jellyfish, and if Prime continues winning, they're gonna throw their names in the hat, for that kind of number 1 spot. But last year I think when we did the power rankings, all the number 1 seeds were the top 4 or top 3, and it looks like this is gonna be pretty consistent when it's all said and done here.
Yeah,
So not really much disagreement, honestly. Bucket John Betts is probably the one with the most amount of questions, but we'll see what happens
yeah. We'll talk
as they
that
start to play.
Bucket John Betts 5 check series next week for sure. Kind of a bit of a reveal, I guess. But I made the power rankings before would I look at that game? Okay, guys, it's week 4 matchup. I talked about it in about the 8 to 10 minutes that I was just not vocalizing myself because I messed up and clicked the wrong button. But basically, I just talked about standings if you're wondering, and I talked about the fact that TLT um, went went and got a free victory from the forfeit, and then I gave CLT praise. That's just not even on the darn freaking. I'm ticked. I'm freaking so mad that I did that. But that's basically what I was talking about during that CLT. You can still hear him break down his series. That's really all that matters. At least somebody did. I didn't really speak too much on the series myself. Um,
We didn't give you much to talk about. It's fine.
no, that's not it. It's just I didn't speak. I did praise Tomiyama and Hashirama for a hell of a series too. I just, yeah, I'm sorry guys. One of these days I won't mess up and do this. This is the second time I've done this, by the way, in a show.
Look,
This time it's only a short period of time, but
look. Baby steps. You got the monologue down now. We don't have to do
yeah,
that 3 times. We're getting it.
yeah, we're getting it. So, yeah, guys. I mean, thank you all for coming out and watching the show as always. Apologize again for my shortcomings there and missing some of my my words there for about 10 minutes. And again, just thankful so much to CLT and again pray for his dog, pray for his family, and um, pray for him to get a dang win. He deserves it because the guy works so damn hard, and that's why I was praising him because he shows up and he's still professional every time and plays. Um, so yeah, please give my boy all the love in the chat. Please actually give my boy love in the chat. I want to see some CLT like I heart
No.
CLT in the chat. No, I want to see I heart CLT in the chat for once. Give me something in the damn chat. All right. Okay, that's it. CLT, you got anything to say before we go?
Nah, appreciate the love.
All right.
It's so, but yeah, no, we're gonna have a banger of a week 4, and not revealing too much. With week 5 is gonna be a banger too. So happy to see how the end of the season goes.
Me too. I'm happy and excited for it, and we're gonna get there. And until then, guys, we'll be signing off. This episode went cleaner than last week for a long episode, and we're happy with that. We just pick up as we go. We pick up as we go. So yeah, GG to all the teams, and exciting for week 4, and we'll see you guys next week. Peace out.
Deuces.